Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, January 21st City Council meeting. If you join me for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, Ms. Orlovsky, roll call, please.
Michelle Volk. Here. Luke Hellier.
Here.
Dan Walter.
Here.
Joshua Lee.
Here. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3. This is citizens' comments. Opportunity for anybody to address the council for up to 3 minutes if you have an issue that is not on the agenda. Typically, if there's an agenda item, we'll have public comment. You can come up and state your name for the record and
Apologize.
okay.
My name is Steve Burke, and I came this evening to raise some questions or concerns around the Cedar Dodd Fire Station proposal.
Okay, yeah, it's not on the agenda, so go ahead. Yep.
I don't know if it's better to go to the Planning Commission meeting Thursday.
No, this is okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Try to get through this. So I've been a neighbor across on the north side of Cherry View Park for nearly 30 years now, and so of course, when we moved in there, there's been a lot of changes since then, and especially in the last few years with the realignment of Dodd and 179th and so forth. But part of me wonders if this, effort to save money by not having to purchase land will end up being something we might regret later on, perhaps later on down the road. So I'm just going to go through a few of my questions. When I listened to the audio, because I wasn't at the session back on December 9th, I did listen to the audio, and I wasn't able to make the January 7th meeting when they had a neighborhood meeting. But in listening to that, it seems like this has been planned for quite a while. When I hear first questions around landscaping, it's like, okay, this is kind of secondary stuff. So it's like, this is pretty far down the road. I just feel like with all the changes that have gone on in that neighborhood, with the maintenance facility sometime in the last 15 years and the housing development to the south, there should have been an opportunity for reserving land to the south or near that maintenance facility where this fire station might be better located and better next to major intersections. One of my main concerns is around 179th Street in Granby. I do not like the sightlines when I come out of there from the north. If I look to the right, to the west, the curve, speeds of traffic, there's going to be an issue there. I do feel like you'll end up losing more lives. There's already been one youth in our neighborhood that lost his life last June. More risk of that kind of thing happening as calls to the south are made for fire. So that'd be one concern I do have that I think should be looked at a little more seriously. Secondly, so I think anticipate that you guys are going to want a signal light there at some point, or a roundabout or something to basically keep traffic so it's not too much of a risk to the public. Let's see. So anyway, yeah, we've been here a long time. Like I say, fire station number, I believe 4 was built near the maintenance facility. Or not the maintenance facility, the water treatment facility back in 1998, from what I can learn. I feel like should be some land there, should be some land available near the maintenance facility that's better suited for this purpose. You have a park there that's really meant for smaller kids, and I do feel it's a risk with the small kids around there going to and from that park. Crossing, there's a tunnel there, which is great, but overall, I just feel like this a lot of safety issues there. I think that's really about it in terms of my main concerns. As mitigating factors, Pine Grove is a neighborhood there. They have plenty of pine trees there. If this is something that's going to go forward, perhaps there's more evergreens that could be put on the north side of 175th to kind of buffer the sound as well. One other thing that I didn't mention here is it's pretty clear to me that you guys anticipate that this being not just for fire, but also for medical. Great. But that means more calls. So one of my questions is, a takeaway for you folks, is if you could publish out essentially 3 or 5 year history about what the calls are for both fire stations 2 and 4, which are going to be closed, so we can understand what kind of call rates we're looking at over a month's time or something like that. I think that's owed to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Mr. Burke,
appreciate you listening.
would you leave your phone number, email with our clerk? You don't have to do it right this second, and I'd like to follow up with you after the
Sure.
meeting.
Yeah,
That's okay?
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Any other public comment? Okay, thank you, sir. Moving on to item 4, any additional agenda information, Mr. Miller?
Mayor and Council, if it's okay with you, we would like to switch the order of items 7A and 7B to accommodate some of the applicants. They need to get to another meeting.
Okay, no problem. Moving on to presentations, introductions, and the first is item A, a proclamation in honor of International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And that's something that I'm initiating, and I had some folks reach out to me about. So I have a proclamation here that I'll read, and then we'll move on from there. So, whereas January 27th marks International Holocaust Remembrance Day, designated by the United Nations General Assembly to commemorate the anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz-Birkenau, the largest Nazi concentration and extermination camp. And whereas January 27th, 2025 marks 80 years since the liberation, and whereas today and every day we remember and honor the memory of the 6 million Jews who were systematically murdered by Adolf Hitler and the Nazis, along with the millions of other innocent victims, including people with disabilities, political dissidents, and others targeted for persecution. And whereas anti-Semitism has been defined by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance as a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, towards Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. And whereas the International Holocaust Remembrance Day serves as a solemn reminder of the dangers of hatred, bigotry, and anti-Semitism, and underscores the importance of education, vigilance, and action to prevent such atrocities from ever occurring again. And whereas the City of Lakeville reaffirms its commitment to promoting tolerance, understanding, and human dignity while standing against all forms of hatred and discrimination. And whereas it is our duty to ensure that the lessons of the Holocaust remain a cornerstone of our collective memory and to honor the resilience and courage of those who survived and rebuilt their lives. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Luke Hellier, Mayor of the City of Lakeville, do hereby proclaim January 27th, 2025 as International Holocaust Remembrance Day and call upon all residents to join in solemn remembrance of the victims, educate themselves about the Holocaust, and commit to building a more tolerant and compassionate society. And it's further resolved that all citizens be urged to honor the lives that were lost and do their part to end anti-Semitism. Signed by me. Thank you. Moving on, we will have our 2024 annual liquor operations report, and I'll turn it over to our director, Ms. Wold. Good evening.
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for the opportunity to deliver the Liquor Department 2024 review. We'll start out here with sales. Our 2024 sales were similar to 2023 sales. In 2024, we did $22.7 million. In 2023, we did $22.76 million. So very similar, pretty much flat. Our customer counts increased. It was good to see more customers visit our stores. Our sales per transaction decreased. This is standard pretty much through all of retail right now, so we're not alone. We're in there with everybody else. And this year we made more money than we did in 2023. Our gross profit increased, generating $158,000 more than last year. Our Emporium room, we hosted over 50 promotional events last year, which increased revenue by $130,000 compared to our average sales. We also had over 70 private rentals in our room, which collected $60,000 in fees and bar sales. So that continues to be a popular space. Our e-commerce, this is a big marketing focus for us this year. We almost doubled compared to 2023, so you can see our average transaction per customer is also $76 per transaction. So this is a big spot we're really focusing on this year. The liquor fund contribution contributed almost $1.6 million. You can see our highlights were to the equipment fund and to our debt service for our police station. And without these contributions, these services would be covered by property taxes. And we were busy with our fundraising endeavors again this year. We raised almost $33,000 for the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon program. We raised over $20,000 for the Lakeville Rotary's fundraising initiatives with their Taste of Lakeville. We raised almost $35,000 to benefit our area food shelves, and we raised over $26,000 to benefit children's environmental programming at Ritter Farm Park. We were also a collection site for recycling of Christmas lights like we do annually, and we actively participated in events with the Lakeville Public Safety Foundation and the Lakeville Area Chamber of Commerce. And then with a partnership with College City Distribution, we also collected $4,000 in donations for breast cancer awareness, and that was through our 5K that we had for our 90th anniversary. Our achievements, we were once again named a top 100 retailer by Beverage Dynamics magazine. We were voted a Reader's Choice Award from Sun Times, and we celebrated our 90th anniversary. And like I mentioned, we had a 5K this year. That was our first annual. Probably continue to do that next year as well. We collaborated with Badger Hill Brewery for a beer and wine with Manos. And we had lots of fun activities that month that brought in a lot of different customers. So we celebrated 90 big. Achievements, our perpetual inventory shrink was an amazing 7/1000th of a percent point. Average retail is around 2%, so this was amazing. This is a testament to our staff for being diligent and really paying attention. So 2 of our staff members were awarded WSET Level 2 in wine, so that will help with customer service. We'll also be certifying 9 of our staff members in Level 1 spirits. And we also have our own Jesse Rogers teaching that class, so it's coming full circle now.
Good.
Leah Pilaya received the Paul Harris Award from the Lakeville Rotary Club for her hard work marketing the Taste of Lakeville. Upcoming events. We're doing a small remodel at our Galaxy location. We're going to be focusing on the little wine room and making that a little bit easier to shop. We're also hiring an assistant manager at our Keokuk location. We're in the process of doing that right now. And in March, we'll again be doing our annual food drive. So that is all. I now stand for questions.
Okay, very good. Council, any questions? No? Well, thank you. And I think, I speak on behalf of all of us, we're continue to be so proud of the work that you guys do, especially partnering in the community with groups and the ability to raise money. That's really important. So thank you. Appreciate the report. Oh.
What is 7/1000th of is that what, a can of beer went missing? I mean,
It was about $100.
That's 100. Okay.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Incredible number.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you do that, but
It was amazing.
yeah. So well done.
Good. Thank you. Okay, we'll turn on to item C, which is our Economic Development Annual Report, and I'll turn it over to our Community Development Director, Ms. Goodroad.
Whoops. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to present the 2024 Economic Development Annual Report. I would be remiss if I did not call out Katie Bachmeyer, who annually puts this information together, as well as all of our marketing materials, and did a great job. So this year has been another very active year. We've experienced a lot of development activity this year with almost $258 million worth of building permit activity. And you can see the 3 other years were slightly over, about $500,000 over 2023. And then you can see the 2022 and the 2021 numbers. And we receive a lot of continued private sector investment, over $75.1 million in different commercial projects as well as industrial park projects. The RL Cold Storage was our largest building permit, valued at $32 million. A groundbreaking ceremony was held for this building back in May to kick off construction of their 276,480 square foot cold storage facility. And this is located east of Cedar, just south of County Road 70, kind of right behind the Sweet Harvest Foods property. So that was the largest from a building permit valuation. Then you can see the others, the post-pilot plant, that was a remodel of an existing industrial building, so they can create a pilot plant for their new dog food businesses. That was another large one. Midwest ENT Specialist, that was just approved a little while ago. Children's Dental Care, Kenwood Commons, and so on. So we've had a lot of good commercial activity. And we all know residential continues to be strong in Lakeville. According to Housing First, Lakeville, we rank number 2 in residential permit numbers, just behind Woodbury. We've been number 1 for 9 years. In 2023, we finished at number 3, and we bumped back up to number 2, so still doing strong. We completed the year with 285 single-family permits, 100 detached townhomes, 49 attached townhomes, and 1 apartment complex. It's classified as an apartment. It's a stacked multifamily. This is the co-op building for Astoria, and that was 89 units. Residential permit value is over $155.8 million. So it's 60% of that overall total comes from our residential construction. And single-family permit valuation was averaging a little over $310,000 last year. And then from a total unit standpoint, we also rank number 2, this time behind Minnetonka. So we finished the year with that total of 523 units. Our median home price is $451,150. We have 25,881 households, and we're holding on to that average household size of 2.9 units, or 2.9 persons per unit. And then the map behind the screen will re-show in a different map, but it does give you an idea of kind of where all of that residential permit activity is located. And then institutional continues to be strong. In this slide, we're pointing out Grand Prairie Park. This park receives several different building permits that are necessary for the construction of the main park building, as well as the grandstand, the dugouts for the new baseball stadium, and pickleball courts. The park will continue construction this year with lots of activities that are planned, including pickleball courts and the city's first cricket pitch. And some of those amenities will be available yet this summer. This is one of my favorite slides. I love the picture that this represents in terms of all the different business activity that's occurred over the past year. And so this might be businesses, you might see names that are very familiar to you, and these are businesses that have simply just expanded. So permits were issued, expansions occurred, but a lot of it is new businesses to Lakeville. So again, in 2024, we saw a lot of continued investment in medical office. Just to point out a few, Children's Minnesota Specialty Center, they expanded their clinic space into neighboring tenant space. Then Alina Health and the MNGI Digestive Health, they opened up their 3-story, 100,000 square foot medical office building this summer. So that was a great addition. Exuberance Chiropractic moved to a new operation or a new location, expanded their operation. Midwest ENT Specialists, that's the new building up in the Sundance development off of Buck Hill. They broke ground on their 14,000 square foot facility. So again, lots of expansion of medical, but also a lot of other retail, a lot of new restaurants, including LBC at the Lake, Donut Star, Taco Bell, Kiev Bakery, and Farmer's Grandson Eatery. So lots of fun activity going on. And we love celebrating all of these new businesses. We see a lot of you at the ribbon cuttings. We were able to attend a total of 25 ribbon cutting celebrations, and you can see a few of the different businesses, Niche Books, the Goldfish Swim School, Uptown Cheapskate, just to name a couple. We also attended 3 groundbreaking ceremonies last year. So just another indication of the constant new activity that's happening in Lakeville. Our employment continues to be strong. We employ 21,852 people. This is Q2 information. We'll get this updated before the State of the City. This equates to a 3.9% increase over last year and an increase of 3.4% over the last decade. Top employers continue to be the school district, Hy-Vee, Hearthside Food Solutions, BTD, City of Lakeville to round out the top 5. And unemployment rate continues to remain low. We're at 2.4% compared to 2.9 or 2.7 with the county and 2.9 at the state level. And then this map kind of reflects everything that we just talked about, but just shows a great at a glance at a map of just where is all this activity occurring. So the purple or kind of pink color represents all of the residential permits. So again, as you're driving around town, all of this is very not surprising where all of our remaining developable land. We're going to start seeing a lot of those pink dots over on the east or the west side of 35 as River Meadows starts issuing permits. But we have a lot of commercial activity, and it's occurring all over the city, as well as city permits. This includes the fire station activity. And then the green represents developments that have received final plats. So last year, the council approved 731 final platted lots. So we have a nice inventory going into this next year. One of the things that Katie and I spend a lot of time on is really promoting our existing businesses and really trying to bring new businesses to the community and help spread the word at how great Lakeville is to do business. And we do this through a whole slew of things. Katie's Thrive newsletter and videos that she produces each month. We also purchased an ad in the Business Expansion Journal for this first quarter. That goes out to brokers across the nation. We celebrated Lakeville Works at a session at the 2023 Economic Development Association Minnesota Winter Conference. It was great having this session to highlight Lakeville Works. We did that in partnership with the Chamber and BTD. And then we promote and financially support Open to Business. So this is that group that provides free consultation for small businesses. We also have really upped our game in partnership with the Minnesota Real Estate Journal. This year we participated on a cannabis real estate summit. We had a booth at the Industrial Summit. We often speak at that one as well. We are also partnering with that group and the Dakota County CDA to do the 3rd annual Southeast Suburban Development Summit. So all of those opportunities give us time to be in front of brokers, developers, mainly for industrial types of uses. And then we put on the manufacturers event annually. We gave the Lakeville teachers a tour of the industrial park along with the chamber, and then had a booth at the Mincar Expo as we do each year. This year, the Economic Development Commission, along with staff, participated in a strategic planning process to update the Economic Development Strategic Plan. We worked with Ehlers, and the EDC met over the course of the summer over several months to identify goals, strategies, actions, and success measures for economic development for our next 4 years. This year, we also had the first full year of implementation of the rental registration program. So if you remember, this ordinance was adopted late in 2023, so it was really over the course of this year of getting the word out, getting people to register their properties. And we have over 650 rental properties registered with the city. 61% of those are single-family homes. Registration is free. It's very easy to do. All of the resources are on the website. And if you recall, a couple of months ago, we amended the ordinance to require a Minnesota-based rental manager to ensure that we had contact locally for those units. Looking ahead, our staff and, well, mainly Katie created this program, Business Retention Expansion Program. This is an offshoot from, or one of the goals in the strategic plan. We are doing this in partnership with our Economic Development Commission as well as the Chamber of Commerce. And our intent is to visit every month 4 businesses in 2 different groups and really have a really thoughtful conversation with these businesses, get to know them, find out what their needs might be, see what we can do, what kind of resources we can provide to them. And then we'll be reporting on those results on a quarterly basis with our Economic Development Commission. This year, we also have our CDBG funds planned to update the 2018 Downtown Development Guide and then complete an industry cluster analysis study. We'll be doing that later in the year once we get through a lot of the business and retention visits. And again, we spent a lot of time promoting, reaching out and trying to make sure people know about Lakeville, our available land, both commercial and industrial, and we'll continue to do that in 2025 and beyond. And I would stand for any questions.
Okay, very good. Council, comments, questions? Well, I'll just say I am personally looking forward to the business retention program. I think we're going to find a lot of success there. So thank you for both of you guys putting that together. So
Thank you.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to item 6, the consent agenda. Any items you wanted to highlight, Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mayor. Just one tonight. Item 6N is a resolution appointing city council to various committees and agencies outside the city, and this is something you do annually and is talked about at your retreat.
Okay, very good. Council, any item that you'd like to discuss further? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion about the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda passes. We'll now move on to item 7B, Kenrick Corner Second Edition Preliminary Plat and Easement Vacation. And I believe we have the developer here to give an update. Hi, welcome, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. And I do have just a short presentation that I'm sure they will pull up in just a moment. My name is Jennifer Haskamp. I'm the owner of Swanson Haskamp Consulting, which is actually an urban planning firm. I am here on behalf of the developer, who I partner with quite regularly. It is Messenbrink Construction and Engineering. So Messenbrink will be both the developer and the builder, and then they will also own the property. So there we go. I have most of it memorized, but we're looking at essentially a replat of an existing outlot that was done many, many years ago. It sounds like it's a great time to be in Lakeville based on the presentation that Ms. Goodrow just gave. So we're excited to become part of your community. Messenbrink Construction and Engineering has done an enormous amount of work in the South metropolitan area. They are out of Prior Lake. So they do a fair amount of industrial development and then also do some retail. So what we've applied for this evening and was in front of your planning commission a few weeks back is for preliminary and final plat. So again, we're replatting that outlot that was part of the Kenrick Corner. So the property is approximately 1.6 acres. The current land use or guiding in your comprehensive plan is commercial, and the zoning is also C3. We are proposing essentially to use both that guiding and that zoning, so it is simply a replat of the outlot. You can tell by the graphic on what would be Plan North or Page North that we are proposing to put some significant landscaping in and also preserving and protecting the existing landscaping that was actually required as part of that initial plat process. So there's currently a landscape screen and some berming that will remain intact throughout this project, and then some additional landscaping that will be added to it. We're essentially proposing to develop approximately 9,600 square feet. It's intended to be for 2 different tenants, so each tenant will actually have parking on either side of the building. Obviously, folks that are overflowing can still use those other parking lots, but you can tell, obviously, from an efficiency perspective, they'll be accessing each unit from the ends or the short ends. Other than that, we do have 2 users that we've been in discussion with. From what I understand, the leases have not been executed yet, so from that perspective, I can't share with you exactly who those tenants are. But we are hopeful that once the building is constructed, it will be fully leased well before the actual construction is complete. So with that, I don't want to steal any more of Tina's thunder, and I will actually turn it over to her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I don't have a whole lot. Ms. Haskamp provided a great overview. Again, this is location. It's an outlot that they are platting through the preliminary plat. The final plat will be before you at our next meeting. The access to the site is through the private drive. The property is Zone C3, general commercial. Both uses that sounds like they're in the works with are both permitted uses. The property to the north is RM2, so you can see here on the plat. There is an easement vacation. These DU and E will be replaced with the next final plat, so you'll see that on the next meeting. Here's the site plan, provides for all the required parking, all of the setbacks are being met. The two uses with the smaller commercial and parking associated with that entrance, as well as the wellness center and parking associated with that entrance. And then she highlighted the landscaping. There's quite a bit of buffer that exists that is being retained, and then some additional buffering trees along the north property line. And then here's a picture, little clearer image of the exterior, a darker brick and windows that make up the majority of the materials, and then some architectural stylized metal accents will look really good in that area and the surrounding uses. And again, just a picture of the floor plan for the commercial space and the wellness center. Planning Commission did hold a public hearing at their January 9th meeting and unanimously recommended approval. And I would stand for any questions.
Councilmember Lee.
Thank you. Just first a comment that I appreciate the preservation of the existing screening and the lack of disturbance to the other properties around it. I think that's a nice feature of this new plat. To that point, though, I do have a question about the existing, it looks like a turnaround driveway. That's a part of this plat, but looks like it's used for plat dentistry. Is that driveway going to stay?
I believe so.
And does that need any? You can kind of see it here on the east side of the plat.
Oh, that?
Yep, that outline is a paved road. I'm not sure what it's used for, or if it's going to stay as part of this plat.
You know, I would need to double check the demolition plan. I think it may have been put in as probably for fire safety turnaround, you know what I mean? So you can
Sure.
back out and back in. With that, if that is in fact the case, it would remain in place. I just have to double check the demo plan. I don't recall seeing it removed, and it does look like some of the vegetation is still staying. So my gut is that it is still there.
Okay.
But we can confirm that prior to the final plat, which I believe is on your next meeting.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. If any follow-up would be appreciated on that.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, if not, I will take a motion. Councilmember Lee.
Move to approve a resolution approving the Kenrick Corner Second Edition preliminary plat and vacation of drainage and utility easements and adoptions of the finding of fact.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Volk,
Aye.
Hellier,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. You bet. And Tina, you are still on deck for, we'll go back to item A for ordinance amending Title 11 of the City Code and ordinance for publication.
Thank you. Mayors, members of the council, I don't have a presentation for this one, but I'll go through the ordinance amendment briefly. So back in the summer, we worked with the commission, had kind of the first version of the zoning updates, met again in April, really focusing on parking requirements and a few other random things. Then fall hit and we were crazy busy, so I apologize for the delay. We finally got this to Planning Commission public hearing to kind of wrap up what we call the 2024 updates before we start some 2025 updates. So I'll just review briefly what is included in this ordinance update. So first off, in definitions, we created a definition for commercial recreation facilities as one does not exist. These are those kinds of larger athletic or indoor kind of playground facilities. It could be a hockey camp or hockey facility for hockey training, or baseball or soccer. Could be pickleball courts that are indoors. Something that's different than what you would typically find at a full Lifetime Health Club. It doesn't have the same kind of health club amenities. But it is a use that is allowed in the I-1 district. And you'll note in this amendment, we're suggesting adding it into the I-2. The parking section, the amendment includes some changes to required number of spaces. Again, I provided both the clean version of the ordinance as well as the strikeout. In doing so, something got mixed up between fitness centers and funeral homes, where the fitness center requirement got tucked into the table for the same for funeral homes. Councilmember Bermal pointed that out last night. I fixed it. Hopefully you guys got your copy quickly. I apologize for that, but just working with the table, something got adjusted. Those two requirements are not part of the proposed changes, but something just happened in the Word document. But overall, there were certain uses that are being changed basically to change based on what we're seeing for demand. So we're really trying to reduce the amount of parking for some of our larger uses, manufacturing, warehousing, where a lot of automation can be handled, and where we just don't have the need for these large parking areas. The signage portion, this amendment is really specific for signage that is within our community parks and special use areas. Both Grand Prairie Park is in need of some additional signage, both wall signage on their facilities as well as some monument signage. They can have one monument sign on Cedar because it's a major roadway, but not on the adjacent street, Hamburg, where they want to have a second monument. So we felt in working with the Parks Department that these changes are necessary because of the size of the park, the type of park, to expand the signage. And so that amendment addresses those. And then the M2 mixed-use corridor, the current ordinance allows for multifamily within this ordinance and has a per square foot unit of 1,675, which matches the low end of the density range but doesn't match the high end of the density range. That was missed. And so we have to match the zoning with the comp plan. And so we need to change that minimum unit size down to 1,100 square feet. The I-1 Light Industrial District, we've been getting a few requests for major auto repair with some limited outdoor storage. Right now, this is currently a conditional use if all of the vehicles are stored inside. But with some stipulations that we've added to this draft ordinance, we feel that having some limited, fully screened outdoor storage of vehicles in a small area, it's proposed at not more than 20% of the lot area or 10,000 square feet, whichever is less, that we feel like we can handle this well and allow that use to exist. And then in the I-2, we are proposing adding that commercial recreation facility to this district. It's already allowed in the I-1 with stipulations, so we simply carried over those I-1 stipulations to I-2. It will free up the ability of some of the older industrial uses to might have a little broader range of occupants that could rent some of those spaces. And then finally, in the I-3 zoning district under administrative uses, the MAC has submitted a building permit to remodel the maintenance building on that facility to have a sleeping quarter. It's all it is. It's for MAC staff, but right now it's not allowed. And so we needed to amend the ordinance to allow that use. Again, the Planning Commission held that work session, kind of blessed all of this, and then we held the Planning Commission public hearing on January 9th, and they unanimously recommended approval, again, of Phase 2 of the 2024 zoning amendments, and stay tuned for 2025 soon. And I stand for any questions.
Council, any questions? No? Okay, take a motion. Just as a reminder, I think we do have to have 4 votes.
3 votes to pass, but 4 votes for summary ordinance.
Right, but we're going to do them together?
You can do them together.
Okay. Yeah, Councilmember Wolter?
I move to approve an ordinance amending Title 11 of the City Code and a summary ordinance for publication.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? With that, we'll roll call, please.
Walter,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Hellier.
Aye. Good. I want to extend my thanks to you and the Planning Commission for all the hard work on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to items 8 and 9, unfinished and new business. Seeing none, we'll move on to announcements. The next work session is on Monday night here at the Marion Conference Room on the 27th. And our next regular council meeting is February 3rd here at City Hall. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.